Hi, welcome. I'm standing in the Schammer right now, and I'm at the information panel about all the birds. Here you have a viewpoint to see the nesting area around here. I can see a lot of birds. So right now this place is a beautiful spot for all the birds, for huge biodiversity, and it's overall great to just walk through or cycle through. But this was not always the case. The Schammer was created about 10 years ago in 2010, and before that this was all agricultural land. All of this and all these ponds, these lakes were formed about 10 years ago. So I wondered, why was it built? Who was involved? And weren't the farmers who used to work here, what do they think about this? So I talked to Peter van Dijk, which is the project manager at the time. He works at the water board of and he told me that this was not such an easy process, because what started this transformation was actually a flood in 1989, and they wanted a safe place for the water to go. So they started on a plan. This plan would solve the water issue, create a place for huge biodiversity, and a connection zone for the Barneveldse and the Valleikanal. This plan was ready in 2004, however they couldn't start building yet because the local farmers didn't want to leave. There had to be an expropriation procedure where the farmers were forced to leave. So in the end they couldn't start building until 2010. So Peter van Dijk showed me these pictures of what happened, and it used to look like this, all just agricultural land. What happened is that once every 100 years there's a chance of a flood which can flood 180 acres, and every 10 years 75 acres can flood, and this creates images like this. So this is what sparked the renovation, and as you can see the streets and the farms are flooded. This water needs a place to go. So they created the plan, the Schammer. So I'm walking right now to the weirs in this region. So we're at the weir. This weir can close, so that the Barneveldse will submerge and the Schammer will also submerge. And once this entire place is filled up, you can actually see where water will exit gradually, because they can't just put the weir down, then all of a sudden all of the water will flood out, and then you'll still have a flood. So right there is another weir, is a culvert with another weir behind it, so that water can gradually exit this region, and the Barneveldse won't flood. Of course, fish can't pass through this weir. So they made a fish bridge, which is right over there, so that fish can still enter the Barneveldse brook. From here you have a nice view. You can see the highway in the background, but even though the highway is right there, when walking through this region you hardly hear it. Well, of course right here, you're right next to it, you can hear it, but if you're walking where we just were, in the region we just were, at the main nesting area for the birds, there you can't hear the highway. So somehow this sound is absorbed by these trees and all the vegetation here. Well, that vegetation in the grasslands we just visited is so-called wet vegetation. So there are different types of vegetation here in the Schammer. You have wet vegetation and you have relatively dry vegetation. So these are created by just elevating the land so that there's more distance between the groundwater. So at the drier areas there can grow trees and taller bushes, and at the wet areas only grasses can grow. So you have this all benefits the biodiversity. So let's continue through this region. So even in this Schammer, there is still the chance of getting squashed for tiny animals. So if, for example, right here is a road where bikers can bike at 60 miles per hour, 60 kilometers per hour. So that's not very safe. So what the Utrecht Landschap did was make these passages underneath the road, so the animals won't be squashed. So we was wondering if there's any life in the water, and we just walked by this and there's so much fish. The fishes move very slow. Oh, there's one. Yeah, I did not expect this. So huge. This is pretty cool. So we are on our way back to the beginning of the area, and we're walking just past the edge of the water retention basin. So on your left, on our left, I mean, there's these farms which will always remain dry, and then on the right you have all these grasslands and shrubs, trees, which can all be submerged. So it's really impressive to just walk around here and think, whoa, once every 10 years this place can be fully submerged. I'd love to walk through it then, or skate, maybe in winter. Ice skate, yeah. So the farmers that used to own these fields, of course, did not want to leave, because this was their home, this is their culture, they lived here for generations, and these fields were very fertile, so these were could make a lot of money. And they even got an offer before this was decided to be nature area. They were offered to sell it for a much higher price, because Amersfoort wanted to build houses here, and then this did not continue. So they felt like someone was just screwing with them, and they vandalized the equipment of the workers. The water board had to hire extra policemen, and they had to install extra cameras also to stop these actions from locals. And so that was, I always think, wow, that doesn't happen in the Netherlands, but he also told me you'd be surprised how often this happens, because quite often it's just decided whether or not a piece of land will be houses or will be nature. If it's for the greater good, for example, to stop Amersfoort from flooding, you can't say no, and that clashes with the locals. So with this I would like to end the vlog. If you liked it, press subscribe, hit the like, smash like, click subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.